Hey budget gardeners, Vita Loca here. Join me today as we do a fall porch refresh. So let's go. It is October here in New Hampshire and fall is in the air. The weather is nice and cool and crisp. It's a great time to be picking apples and make apple crisp. And I wanted to bring you along as I change my porch theme from summer into fall. I like to decorate it for Halloween to start off with, partially because I have a lot of decorations that I have collected over the years, either from my mother-in-law or from when I had children and they were smaller, and I used to love to decorate the house for Halloween parties. Well, now my children are both in college, and I wanted to start off this porch refresh a little bit differently. I pulled out my bins of Halloween decorations, and I keep everything in there, including anything that my children have drawn or written regarding that specific holiday. And so we're going to start off with this right here. This is something that my daughter wrote. It's called Black Cat. It's very short, I promise you. In a haunted house was a black cat. It chased a lot of bats. The cat found a pumpkin hat. The black cat found the witch and went to the broom. By Angelica Whitney. So I hope you enjoyed that short little story. I'm sure it was some form of haiku or something. I'm not quite sure what they teach in the schools, but it's awfully sweet. And what I do with all of these handmade things that both my kids made, they're 19 and 21 years old right now. I have them in the boxes for Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, and I love to display them around my house. So I will be definitely hanging this up so that I can enjoy it, and it's a reminder of my children when they were younger. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. You don't want to miss out on videos as I post them. I post them very regularly, and my channel is mostly about gardening, but it's all about doing things on a budget, and that includes refreshing a porch on a budget. So you don't want to miss out on those type of videos. I did a poll last night to ask all of my subscribers to vote on the wreath that we should put on this porch here that we're going to be decorating, because I wasn't quite sure which wreath to use. I had a total of 4 different fall themed wreaths, one of which I bought, and that's the one that had the least amount of votes. It's more, I would say, childish, and I bought it when my children were younger. And so I will probably be donating that to a local thrift shop, and another family can use it for their small children. There were a total of 38 votes that were submitted, and of those, the highest votes went with a wreath that had a pumpkin on it. And we got 37% votes for that. So that was the highest amount of votes. The next one was very close. It was 29%, and it was a wreath that had a red trim around it. But very close to that was 24%, and that wreath had some fruits on it, one with the scarecrows on it. That got 11%. So if you did vote, I really do appreciate it. It helped me out a lot because I sometimes have a hard time with picking things when it comes to decorating. So let's start this video out with changing out the wreath. And as promised, the second place wreath will get placed on my front porch. The side porch where we are at right now is actually the porch that most people use to enter my home. The front porch is really only used whenever we have deliveries out there. So I'll be sure to add this wreath on my front porch. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to blow off all of the leaves that are on the porch here, because the leaves are falling like crazy and it will look so nice to just get this all cleaned up. Well, friends, you can see that the porch has been cleaned up. I will have to keep up with this maintenance on a daily basis because the leaves will continue to fall, and especially if it's a windy day, there will be leaves on the porch. But now I'm motivated to keep up with my porch. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to change out the pillows. I love these pillows for spring and summer, but I have some other pillows that I bought last year specifically for this porch, and we're going to put them out here now. It's silly, but just by doing small little simple things like this can make such a big difference. And what I was telling someone recently was when I come home and I walk up these stairs to my entryway to get into the house here, it just makes me feel so good. It doesn't take a lot to make these type of changes, and it just makes such a difference, I feel like, in the overall look of our porch. And I could really stop right here, but the next thing we're actually going to do is we're going to use some things that I have on hand. I really do try to do things on a budget, and I have a lot of fall decor that I've had for a number of years. And since I'm not decorating the inside of my house anymore for my children, I might as well use those decorations out here on the porch. Now, we don't get any trick-or-treaters here, unfortunately, where I live. So I do have other decorations that can light up and would look really pretty on the porch, but there's really no use in lighting those up on the porch if I'm not even going to get any trick-or-treaters. But I do want the porch to look really beautiful. So let's go ahead and start bringing out what I have, and we're going to start placing them. This bowl will stay on this table here at least through Halloween, and technically I could keep it out here after Halloween because it's going to be covered with something and you won't even see the actual pumpkin. But it's a wooden bowl, and I got it a long time ago when my kids were little, and it's really sweet, very cute. So we're going to keep that here in the center of the table. And then I have these little wooden pears, and they don't look perfect. They look a little petrified, which I think actually makes them look more natural. I'm not sure where I got them from, but I've had them for a long time, and for the last few years I've put them inside this bowl. So we're going to keep that tradition going. I have a little black cat here, and I was looking at the bottom of it. I got it from the Christmas tree shop, $1.29. You can't go wrong with that. And keep that in mind when you're looking for decorations for Halloween. You don't have to break the bank. You can go to the dollar store, Dollar General. There's Christmas tree shop possibly where you are. But then a lot of places mark down their prices, including Walmart. They just mark them down at the end of the season. Start stocking up on those things for next year, things that you think would look pretty on your porch. Because even if you miss the boat this year, you can still be on the lookout for those things at the end of the season, and you can buy them for next year. So the black kitty is going to go right in the center here. And I could put a little tea light inside the black kitty and light it up at night if I really wanted to. And the same applies to these little guys here. These also came from a store local to me. I think it was Joann Fabrics maybe. And it says that they were $2.99 each. You could put candles in them, light them up. I think I bought these at the end of season for 75% off. So they're really cute. This one says "Dead to the World," and this one says "Rest in Peace" or "R.I.P." It has a little chip on it. I really don't care. It doesn't matter. I have a little scarecrow here. It's a little stuffed animal. I can't remember if it was my mother-in-law or my mom that gave this to me. They both have passed away, and I just know that it's something meaningful to me, even if I don't remember where I got it from. And I'm always going to hold on to it, and I'm going to make sure my kids do too. But that's just going to go here on the porch on this chair. And then I have these two little scarecrows, and they're sitting on straw bales, and it looks like there's styrofoam on the bottom of them. I placed them here last year at the base of this table, and it looked really sweet. So we're going to do the same thing again this year. I have these two ceramic pumpkins, and I bought these a long time ago. It says they were $6.99 each. Again, I'm sure I bought them on clearance at the end of the season, and they would look really pretty also if you put tea lights in them. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to put them at the base of this table. I have two decorations here. I'm almost positive this came from my mom. It's so pretty, and so we're going to go ahead and we're going to place that one over here. And now we have this left. I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to put it on this table here. So let's go ahead and just shift a few things around. I love my black kitty, but I think it has to go. I think we're just going to place her over here. And I think the pumpkin looks better down here because we need something a little bit brighter because it was a little too dark on the bottom here. And I like that you have this orange color here with the black here, and I think that looks really sweet. I have these two sweet little birds. They're sitting on a pumpkin. One says, "You are special," and one says, "Bless our family." Both of these came from my mother-in-law's home. They mean a lot to me. And what's nice is I have two, so one day I can pass one on to my son and one on to my daughter. But for now, we're going to keep them right over here. I have these two, and these two came from my mom. I used to like to entertain and have, as I mentioned earlier, Halloween parties when the kids would have their friends over. But I learned all of that from my mom. My mom loved to entertain as well. And so she loved buying things for me for my parties. And for many years, I kept these in my living room on my mantle, and they looked really pretty there. But I think they would look pretty out here. I'm going to give it a try and see what they look like. I don't want to ruin them, so I don't want them to get wet. And where they'll be in this corner here, I think they'll be okay. Two ideas that I have are I could put them up here, or I could put them down there towards the back. So I'm going to do it both ways, and I'm going to play around with it and see which one I like the best. But if you think a different way looks better, definitely put it down in the comments below because I'm open to opinions. I'm not a professional interior decorator, and I love ideas and getting ideas from all of you. So I'm stepping back and I'm looking at it along with you through the camera. I feel like it's a little too busy, and I think that the color kind of looks a little too similar to the siding on the wall there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop them down behind the scarecrows and see if the color pops a little bit more because of the color of the scarecrows and the straw bales that they're sitting on. Well, the bottom part is hidden a little bit, but I do feel like it pops a tiny bit more because of the scarecrows. But what do you think? Let me know. Maybe there's something I'm not seeing here that I can change up and I can move things around. But I'd love to know what your ideas are. Okay, we're left with these two pumpkins, and I have a story. I saw my cousins last weekend, and we went apple picking, and we had such a great time catching up. And we were looking at all the different pumpkins, and I said to them, I really don't want to buy it because I feel like it's kind of a waste, and they agreed. They also felt the same way. Even if you take your pumpkins and you cut them in half after you're done with them, and you eat the seeds from them, and then you leave the pumpkins out for the wildlife. I just had a hard time buying it. So I knew I had these pumpkins. And if you look at the back of them, normally there was a thing in here that you basically can light this up. You plug it in and it lights up. But I don't want to light it up. And I haven't used it outside before. I don't want them to ruin, but they are made of plastic, so I think it'll be fine. And clearly I've had these for a long time when my kids were little. So I figured I might as well use them. I haven't used them for a long time. I'm going to put them on the outer part of my porch. And if I know that it's going to like really rain hard, I can always bring them in, but I think they would be okay. I don't think that the elements are going to ruin them. So let's go ahead and get them placed on the outer parts of my porch. So I like the placement of the pumpkins. We have a little gap over here as well as a little gap over there. And I will tell you why in a little bit, but let's do the next part of this project. We put this flower pot together in the springtime. It's looking a little tired, but I'm not ready to dismantle it quite yet. What I do want to do, I want to cut back the blossoms that are on my coleus because I've been collecting the seeds off of them and I just need to finish up with that process. So let's go ahead and cut off the blossoms off the coleus just so the plant looks a little tidier. So I'm just going to be putting the seed pods in this colander here that has a bowl in the bottom, and that way I can collect the seeds from it. I love to collect the seeds off of all my plants. If you're new to my YouTube channel, I love to collect the seeds from lots of plants, so definitely be sure to check those out because I like to make a lot of videos on how to collect the seeds from both annual flowers as well as perennial flowers. You really can save a lot of money in your garden by doing that. Also, for me, it's a lot of fun because our winters here in New Hampshire are quite long. We have quite a long season, actually. Our growing season outside is a lot shorter than a lot of other people. So being able to grow plants indoors during that time period is a lot of fun for me. So all I'm doing is I'm just clipping back all the blossoms, and I'll show you what the seeds look like in case you're interested. But let me finish up with clipping all the blossoms off of the coleus in this pot as well as in the pot on the other side. These seed pods are quite wet, but if I just barely shake them, those little black specks that you see, each one will produce a coleus plant. So we have quite a few seeds in there. And I will be drying them for 1 week, and then I will store them in a Ziploc bag. And I'll be sure to label the bag with the type of coleus that these are, which is Colocha rose. I think when it comes to making a couple of container pots for this porch, I'm going to save it for another video because I think we went over a lot of things and I gave you a lot of ideas of things I'm doing to decorate my porch for fall time. My goal for those container pots that we're going to make together on a different day is I don't want to go shopping. I want to use things that I have in my yard, and I already have some ideas of what's going to go in those pots. So be on the lookout for that video in the very near future. I really hope that this video inspired you and maybe gave you an idea or two. And my biggest thing that I wanted to show you was that you don't have to be on a great big budget to make your porch look beautiful. Be creative and use the resources that you have because there are a lot of ways that you can decorate a porch without spending a lot of money doing so. As always, if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you. And until the next video, make it a great day with gardening.